And good afternoon, folks. Chief Meteorologist Nick Lilia here, taking a look at your tropical update for July 3rd of 2019, brought to you by the good folks at Pine Belt Gutters. We've got a little more activity into the tropics for today. We've been talking about this the last few days. Again, nothing imminent, but a good reminder that this time of the year is always a good time to keep eyeballs on the tropics. Your name stormed forecast for the year between Colorado State, NOAA, and average. They're thinking about an average season. Again, if you missed this earlier in the year, this isn't something that's brand new, but they're thinking somewhere between 4 and 8 or 5 hurricanes, depending on where you look, and then 2 to 4 major hurricanes. Again, we're looking at about an average season. This time of the year, we're looking across the Gulf of Mexico, down into the Caribbean, just off the east coast of the United States. And generally, we've got to wait until August before we start looking a little further out, and then we start getting little bullseyes in here down into the Caribbean and then just off to the east of the Greater and Lesser Antilles, and then the arrows here kind of pointing where most of these storms tend to go. Right now, into the Gulf of Mexico, we do have some thunderstorm activity. A lot of this is drifting across parts of the southeast. Most of it moved ashore. We've got some more thunderstorm stuff firing up back in behind it. Not quite sure what's going on with the satellite. You can see how the time goes, and this thing really slows down. Not sure what's happening with our data this afternoon. We're still watching good old Barb out here. This is Hurricane Barbara. It looked like a buzzsaw last night, but it's starting to slow down as we head through the next couple of days. It will start to weaken, and it should weaken before it makes its way over to the Hawaiian Islands. Looking at the wide picture across parts of the Atlantic, you can see things are reasonably calm. We've got a little bit of shear out here. One little wave, it's trying to hold on a little further off to the south, and then off the coast of Africa, the waves that are coming off continue to just basically fall apart. The water's not quite warm enough this time of the year to be worried about many African waves. However, I'll add a little asterisk to that. We will have something to watch out there as we head through the next few. Here's that one of those little waves I was talking about. Notice really not much to it through the next few days. But I want to bring your guys' attention a little bit closer to home. Of course, real quick, just in case your first time watching, 700 millibar moisture, 850 vorticity map. Again, fancy weather terms. Basically what we're looking at, mid-levels, low levels. In the mid-levels, anywhere you see this grayed out area, that's where we've got a lot of dry air in the mid-levels, no thunderstorms. And then looking at 850, anytime you see the blue or the yellows, or sometimes even towards the oranges and the red, that's low-level vorticity, fancy word for spin. Horizontal spin within the atmosphere. And so where you have that horizontal spin and it isn't underneath one of these grayed out areas, you've got horizontal spin and moisture through the column, generally means you've got showers and thunderstorms. All right, so let's set this thing into motion as we head through July 8th and 9th. Hey, here's where things get interesting just off the east coast. You see we get a little piece of energy down here. Watch what happens as this moves off the shore. It does actually end up getting a fair amount of low-level vorticity spin associated with it. One thing to watch as we head through the weekend and into the beginning to middle of next week is a little back edge of that thing gets split off, and we may end up with a little organized area of low pressure out here, and something that the National Hurricane Center may eventually have to keep tabs on. Now the good news is generally stuff that forms off the Carolinas continues to have to see. Very rarely does something form here and then jettison itself back toward the United States. Usually it takes itself away from the U.S. But it will be something of note that we'll have to keep tabs on through the next few days. Then, as we head through the middle of July, this is when I think the Saharan dust, all the dry air out here, will start to subside a little bit. MJO will be a little more favorable for development, but as of right now, as you can see, there wasn't much there to speak of. So again, there's your tropical update for July 3rd of 2019, brought to you by the good folks at Pine Belt Gutters. Thank goodness. Nothing really happening, a little more activity, but nothing imminent happening in the tropics.